In a quiet town called Willow Creek, a biker named Shane kicked a service dog as a careless joke, unaware this single moment would alter his life forever. Haunted by war memories and his best friend's tragic death, Shane didn't know that Bodie, the German shepherd he hurt, held the key to healing his broken past. Could a dog's forgiveness and a little girl's courage truly mend the wounds hidden deep within? Stay tuned, because sometimes redemption comes from the most unexpected places. Morning in Willow Creek, Oregon, broke gently with a blanket of mist weaving through the tall pine trees that surrounded the quaint little town nestled at the foot of the Cascade Mountains. The first rays of sunlight painted the cobblestone streets gold and warmed the rooftops of the rustic houses. It was a crisp autumn day. The chill in the air was softened by the scents of freshly brewed coffee and baked pastries drifting from the cozy shops along Main Street. Riley Dawson, a 9-year-old girl with lively chestnut curls that framed her bright blue eyes, navigated her wheelchair with practiced ease along the familiar sidewalk. Despite her youthful glow, there was a maturity in her gaze, a reflection of the tragedy she had endured. A devastating car accident had taken her parents and left her unable to walk. She lived now with her Aunt Olivia, a slender woman in her late 30s, with a thoughtful demeanor and a perpetual look of gentle concern in her hazel eyes. Olivia's dark brown hair was always neatly tied back, and she moved with a purposeful elegance, an aura of quiet strength evident in every action. Beside Riley trotted Bodie, a majestic German shepherd nearly 4 years old. His sleek fur, black and tan, shimmered under the morning sun. Strong and muscular, Bodie's alert eyes constantly scanned their surroundings, attentive and protective. His vest proudly displayed the emblem of his former service with the local K-9 search and rescue unit, signifying both his exceptional training and his role as Riley's devoted companion and guardian. The trio made their usual stop at the Willow Bean Café, a quaint coffee shop that had become their second home since Riley's accident. The café was warm and inviting, its walls decorated with local artwork and vintage signs. Emma, the cheerful young barista with short, wavy blonde hair and a welcoming smile, immediately spotted them entering and waved enthusiastically. "Good morning, Riley, Olivia, and hello there, Bodie." Emma greeted them, already preparing Riley's favorite hot chocolate topped generously with marshmallows. Olivia ordered a strong black coffee and a blueberry muffin, her usual. The cafe buzzed with gentle morning chatter. At their usual corner table, Riley positioned her wheelchair comfortably, Bodie settling instantly beside her, his body relaxed but alert, ears perked up as he observed the cafe's activities. Olivia spread out her planner, jotting down appointments and tasks for the day, occasionally glancing at Riley with maternal warmth. "Riley, remember your physical therapy session this afternoon? Dr. Jensen said you're making great progress." Olivia reminded her softly. "I remember," Riley replied, her voice steady yet cheerful, showing maturity beyond her years. Her gaze briefly shifted to the window, where morning joggers and cyclists passed by, their breaths visible in the chilly air. Meanwhile, Shane Butler approached the cafe on his bicycle. Shane was a tall, rugged man in his mid-30s with tousled dark hair, showing hints of premature silver at the temples. His intense green eyes, shadowed by years of emotional turmoil, carried a constant tension. The former Marine wore a worn leather jacket, faded jeans, and scuffed boots, exuding an air of tough detachment. Shane had returned to Willow Creek 6 months ago, still grappling with memories of Afghanistan and the loss of his best friend Cooper Dawson, Riley's father. Haunted by vivid flashbacks and emotional scars, he often kept people at arm's length. Outside the cafe, Shane casually dismounted his bike and placed it near the cafe's entrance. Distracted by his thoughts, he failed to notice Bodie lying peacefully beside Riley's wheelchair just inside the entrance. As Shane moved toward the door, his foot unintentionally struck Bodie's side. Not harshly, but enough to provoke an instant response. Bodie reacted in a flash, leaping to his feet with startling agility, planting himself protectively between Shane and Riley. teeth bared in a warning growl. His muscular form conveyed a clear, silent message of defense. The sudden movement and sharp sound jolted Shane from his reverie, causing his heart to race. Shane took an immediate step back, hands raised instinctively, eyes wide in surprise and apprehension. He was familiar with dogs' reactions, having trained them extensively in the Marines. Yet, this encounter startled him more deeply, possibly due to the lingering effects of his PTSD. "Whoa, easy there," Shane muttered, cautiously keeping his distance, his voice low and steady. Emma hurried over, concerned by the commotion. "Is everything okay here?" I didn't see him," Shane explained awkwardly, indicating Bodie, who had already relaxed slightly but maintained his vigilant stance beside Riley. Riley's calm blue eyes studied Shane curiously. "It's okay, Bodie. Relax," she reassured softly. Bodie immediately obeyed, settling back down beside her, though his attentive gaze never left Shane. Olivia looked up, startled, her protective instincts instantly on high alert. "Are you all right, Riley?" "Yes, Aunt Olivia," Riley replied evenly, then turning her attention to Shane, her voice gentle but firm. "You startled him, mister. You should be careful." "I'm sorry," Shane offered sincerely, visibly shaken by Bodie's rapid reaction and Riley's composed demeanor. "It was an accident." Emma nodded sympathetically. "No harm done, but Bodie's not just any dog. He's Riley's service dog. He takes his job very seriously." Shane nodded slowly, eyes now fully locked onto the dog's vest and emblem, his expression darkening with a sudden, painful recognition. He felt a sharp pang in his chest as the realization struck. He had seen this dog before, years ago, in pictures Cooper had shared during their deployment. The dog's intelligent eyes, now watching him warily, sparked memories Shane had long tried to bury. "Is he yours?" Shane asked Riley hesitantly. "Bodie belonged to my dad," Riley said, her voice softening with a faint note of sadness. "He trained him to protect people. Now he protects me." Shane swallowed hard, feeling a deep, visceral guilt rising within him. He had unintentionally threatened the very dog his friend had cherished, the companion now protecting his best friend's daughter. His throat tightened, preventing further words. He managed only a nod, stepping aside respectfully. Olivia sensed Shane's internal struggle, but misinterpreted it as lingering aggression. "Please be careful next time," she said curtly, her tone protective but not unkind. Shane offered another quiet apology and quickly exited the cafe, leaving behind an atmosphere thick with unspoken tension. Outside, Shane leaned against his bicycle, his breathing uneven as memories flooded back. The hot desert sun, Cooper's infectious laughter, their camaraderie shattered by one devastating explosion. His fists clenched and unclenched involuntarily, fighting back waves of grief and guilt. Back inside, Riley gently stroked Bodie's fur, her small fingers finding comfort in his warmth. She sensed more had passed between the stranger and her dog than just an accidental encounter. Riley, wise beyond her years, felt a curiosity and intuition about Shane Butler she couldn't yet articulate. As Olivia sipped her coffee, eyeing Riley with lingering concern, the cafe gradually returned to its usual morning buzz. Yet, a subtle change had settled within their little world. None of them knew yet how deeply the accidental encounter outside the Willow Bean Cafe would alter their lives in the days to come. Shane Butler paced restlessly across the modest wooden floor of his cabin at the edge of Willow Creek. The late afternoon sunlight seeped softly through the blinds, painting thin strips of golden warmth across the worn leather couch and sparse, rugged furniture. The cabin, isolated among towering pines, mirrored Shane's own state of seclusion, a self-imposed exile born from grief and guilt. He stopped abruptly near a dusty shelf cluttered with memorabilia from his Marine Corps days, framed photos of his unit, tarnished medals, and a small box filled with letters. Shane picked up one photograph, his eyes lingering on the smiling face of Cooper Dawson, strong jaw, confident grin beneath sandy hair, eyes bright and clear. Shane exhaled deeply, the tightness in his chest intensifying. Cooper had been more than just his comrade. They had trained K-9 units together, forging an unbreakable bond through endless drills under relentless sun, sharing laughs, fears, and dreams during the quiet moments in the desert night. Cooper was optimistic and charismatic, the kind of man who inspired everyone around him. Shane had looked up to him, had depended on him more than he had ever admitted. "You deserved better," Shane murmured hoarsely, placing the photograph back onto the shelf. A sharp, intrusive memory cut through his consciousness. The blast, the ringing ears, the dust cloud mingling with smoke and blood. Shane squeezed his eyes shut, trying desperately to silence the echoes in his mind. Determined to escape the tormenting memories, Shane grabbed his jacket and headed outside. The fresh air hit him with a cooling embrace, the scent of pine needles sharp and grounding. He mounted his bike, pedaling swiftly towards town, needing distraction more than anything else. Meanwhile, Olivia Dawson stood at the counter of the Book Nook, a quaint bookstore she owned, which doubled as Willow Creek's unofficial community hub. Olivia's hazel eyes, gentle yet observant, scanned the cozy interior filled with towering bookshelves and inviting reading corners. Her thoughtful manner and warm demeanor drew locals to confide in her, though few understood the quiet struggles behind her composed exterior. Today, Olivia sensed something off in Riley. Ever since the morning's incident at the café, Riley had been unusually withdrawn. Olivia watched through the shop's front window as Riley quietly sat outside, absently stroking Bodie's fur, her usually lively face thoughtful and distant. A sense of protectiveness and mild frustration surged through Olivia. She hated feeling powerless to ease her niece's hidden pain. "You look concerned," came a gentle voice. Olivia turned, startled, to see Willow Creek's sheriff, Ben Crawford, standing near the entrance. Ben, in his early 40s, carried himself with quiet authority and calm confidence. His short dark hair, peppered with gray, matched the steady gaze of his deep brown eyes. Known for his kindness and integrity, he had become a pillar of reassurance for many in Willow Creek. Riley had a strange encounter this morning, Olivia admitted quietly, her voice tinged with worry. A man accidentally startled Bodie at the café. Ben frowned slightly, his expression instantly attentive. Was it serious? Olivia shook her head slowly. No, Bodie handled it perfectly. It was just the man's reaction afterward. He seemed deeply troubled. Who was it? Ben asked gently. Someone new in town, Olivia explained, eyes thoughtful. Shane Butler, I think. Recognition flickered briefly across Ben's face. Ex-Marine, moved back recently. Keeps mostly to himself. Yes, Olivia nodded. I don't know much about him, but today, Riley sensed something, and now she seems withdrawn. Ben considered this, his voice gentle yet firm. I'll keep an eye out, Olivia. Let me know if you need anything. Outside, Riley was lost in her thoughts, fingers lightly tangling in Bodie's fur. Her sharp instincts told her Shane Butler had known her father. Something in Shane's haunted eyes mirrored the grief she often saw reflected back at her in the mirror, hidden beneath her brave smiles. Back at the edge of town, Shane parked his bike beside the tranquil Willow Creek Memorial Park. A monument stood at the center, commemorating local heroes who had fallen in various wars. Shane approached slowly, eyes quickly finding the engraved name, Cooper Dawson. He knelt and placed a hand against the cool stone, feeling an unbearable heaviness pressing upon him. I never meant to come back here, Shane whispered hoarsely. I should have protected you better. Lost in remorse, Shane barely registered another presence approaching quietly. It was an elderly man named Henry, a longtime Willow Creek resident. Henry, short and slightly stooped with thinning white hair and twinkling gray eyes, regularly tended the flowers surrounding the monument. You're Shane, aren't you? Henry asked softly, his voice kind and gentle. Shane stood abruptly, startled. How do you know me? Small town, Henry smiled faintly. People talk. Cooper was a good man. Everyone here remembers him fondly. Shane nodded, tension evident in his posture. He was the best. Henry placed a comforting hand on Shane's shoulder, sensing his inner turmoil. War leaves marks on all of us, son. Remembering is important, but don't let guilt consume you. Shane's jaw tightened momentarily before he exhaled deeply, trying to ease the tension that gripped him. It's hard not to. Maybe start by talking to Riley, Henry suggested gently. She's a remarkable child, wise beyond her years, and she carries Cooper's strength. The thought of facing Riley made Shane's throat close up, yet he knew deep down Henry was right. I'll think about it, Shane finally murmured, stepping away. Back at the book nook, Riley spotted Shane biking past from her vantage point outside. Their eyes briefly met, Shane's filled with sorrow, Riley's with curiosity. She lifted her hand in a tentative wave. Shane paused, momentarily uncertain before offering a hesitant nod in return, his heart pounding in anxiety. Olivia stepped out, noticing the silent exchange. Was that him, Riley? Yeah, Riley said softly. He looked so sad. Olivia studied her niece closely, sensing the depth of Riley's insight. People often carry sadness we can't see. I think he knew Dad, Riley stated, her voice steady and sure. Olivia's heart skipped a beat at the clarity of her niece's intuition. As twilight settled gently over Willow Creek, Shane returned home, still shaken but resolute. That brief exchange with Riley had given him a spark of courage. He sat down heavily at his old desk, pulling out a pen and paper with trembling fingers, determined to compose an apology to Riley and Olivia. Each word felt painfully inadequate, yet necessary. Dear Riley, he wrote hesitantly, I am sorry for startling Bodie and upsetting you today. I knew your father, Cooper Dawson. He was my friend and the bravest man I've ever known. I've struggled deeply with his loss, and seeing Bodie today brought back many memories. I hope one day you can forgive me. He paused, breath shaky, eyes burning with unshed tears, then signed it simply, Shane. Willow Creek woke abruptly one chilly morning to an anxious commotion that shattered its typically serene demeanor. The skies were overcast, a slate-gray ceiling pressing down upon the town, intensifying the collective unease felt by its residents. News spread quickly through whispered exchanges and concerned texts. A child was missing. Dylan Matthews, an energetic 8-year-old with unruly blonde hair and freckles peppering his cheerful face, hadn't returned home after playing near the creek the previous evening. Sheriff Ben Crawford stood at the creek's edge, his usually calm demeanor replaced by a focused urgency. His strong frame was stiffened by tension, and the worry lines etched deeper into his forehead, making him look older than his years. His deputies methodically combed the area, their expressions grave. Nearby, Dylan's parents, John and Lisa Matthews, stood huddled together. John, tall and robust with close-cropped dark hair, normally confident and composed, now appeared hollow-eyed and exhausted. Lisa, petite with short auburn curls framing a pale, tear-streaked face, trembled visibly. Both wore matching expressions of despair, gripping each other tightly as if afraid to let go. Observing the scene from the edge of the gathering crowd, Shane Butler felt his pulse quicken. The missing boy, Dylan, often played at Willow Creek Memorial Park, the same place Shane had visited in painful solitude. Guilt gnawed at Shane as he watched the search unfold. The need to help wrestled against his paralyzing fear of confronting more memories. Across town, Riley Dawson sat quietly by the window of the book nook, her eyes thoughtful. Olivia stood nearby, speaking quietly into her phone, her voice tight with concern. Riley sensed her aunt's anxiety and glanced toward Bodie, who lay watchfully at her side, ears perked at the unusual sounds drifting through town. The shop door chimed as Ben Crawford stepped inside, his presence immediately commanding attention. Olivia hung up swiftly, moving toward him anxiously. "Any news, Ben?" Olivia asked softly, worry clear in her eyes. "Not yet," Ben replied gravely, running a hand through his hair. "The boy's trail ends abruptly at the creek. We've searched everywhere." His eyes flickered toward Bodie, and Olivia caught the implication instantly. "You want Bodie to help?" "I know it's asking a lot," Ben admitted gently, but we could use his tracking skills. Riley looked up sharply, her gaze determined. Bodie wants to help, and Olivia. Olivia hesitated, torn between protectiveness and the urgent need of the moment. Finally, she nodded. Of course. Let's go. Meanwhile, Shane had retreated to his cabin, pacing restlessly, his conscience battering him relentlessly. The face of young Dylan haunted him alongside images of Cooper and Bodie. Suddenly, his phone buzzed insistently, jolting him. It was Ben Crawford. Shane, we need your expertise. Ben's voice was firm but reassuring. We've brought Bodie in, but he hasn't tracked actively for a while. Shane hesitated briefly, wrestling with internal turmoil. The thought of assisting Bodie, Cooper's loyal partner, struck him deeply. He exhaled shakily and replied firmly, I'll be there in 10. When Shane arrived, the search was already intensifying. Ben immediately directed him toward Riley and Bodie, who stood ready near the creek. Riley watched Shane approach, her clear blue eyes both wary and hopeful. Thank you, Riley said softly, handing Bodie's leash to Shane. Bodie sniffed Shane cautiously, eyes wise and assessing. Shane knelt, meeting the dog's gaze steadily, speaking quietly, his voice filled with respect and sincerity. Let's bring him home, Bodie. Bodie, sensing Shane's genuine intent, accepted him readily, signaling his trust with a gentle nudge of his nose. Shane felt a surprising warmth at this acceptance, the bond of trust forming a fragile but undeniable thread connecting him back to a world he thought he'd abandoned. Together, Shane and Bodie moved to where Dylan's trail had last been seen. Shane methodically directed Bodie, carefully observing the dog's subtle reactions. He guided the German shepherd with precise, gentle commands, skills ingrained deeply from his military past, slowly resurfacing despite his inner turmoil. The search stretched on, relentless hours blurring together as daylight began to fade into twilight. The chill deepened, shadows lengthening around anxious search parties. Then abruptly, Bodie's posture changed, his ears sharply alert, tail stiffening. He's caught something, Shane informed Ben urgently. This way. They followed Bodie through dense underbrush and muddy banks to an old, abandoned hunting shack hidden within a thicket of pines. Ben motioned for silence, drawing his weapon cautiously, while Shane held Bodie firmly, heart pounding. Ben edged open the door cautiously. Inside, huddled in a corner and shivering but unharmed, Dylan Matthews lifted terrified eyes to his rescuers. Ben holstered his weapon swiftly, moving forward gently. Dylan, you're safe now, Ben assured warmly, his voice steady yet tender. Shane released a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding, feeling relief flood through him. Bodie wagged his tail gently, moving slowly toward the boy. Dylan, recognizing the dog, reached out hesitantly, his fear fading as Bodie's warm presence comforted him. As Ben radioed the good news, Shane glanced outside to see Riley and Olivia approaching hurriedly. Riley's eyes met Shane's, her expression filled with gratitude and something deeper, understanding. Shane managed a slight, hesitant smile, feeling a newfound strength from Riley's unspoken acceptance. Returning to town, a joyful atmosphere enveloped Willow Creek. Dylan was safely reunited with his tearfully grateful parents. Lisa Matthews hugged Bodie tightly, repeatedly thanking Shane, whose awkward discomfort was softened by the sincerity around him. That evening, as the community celebrated, Shane quietly approached Riley, his eyes uncertain. Thanks for trusting me, he said softly. Riley smiled gently, mature beyond her years. Dad would have trusted you. Nearby, Olivia watched with quiet approval, heart warmed by the gentle beginnings of healing unfolding before her. Ben stepped to her side, sharing a quiet look of mutual respect and budding affection, their relationship subtly shifting in the aftermath of crisis. Meanwhile, unnoticed among the crowd, stood a quiet figure, Clara Evans, a woman in her early 50s with silver-streaked brown hair neatly gathered in a tight bun, sharp gray eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Clara, known locally as the Reserve Town Librarian, watched Shane intently. Her usually composed face hinted at something more profound, a secret hidden deep beneath her calm exterior. Few in Willow Creek knew of her past, her own quiet tragedies, and the wisdom it had bestowed upon her. As Shane walked away with Riley, Clara's sharp eyes softened. Perhaps now was the time for her own story to intertwine with theirs. Secrets long buried were slowly surfacing, weaving together the lives of Willow Creek's residents in unexpected ways. The search efforts intensified early at dawn in Willow Creek, Oregon, under skies heavy with thick slate-colored clouds threatening rain. The chilling wind rustled leaves and whispered uneasily through the tall pines, reflecting the collective anxiety enveloping the small town. Shane Butler, Riley Dawson, and Bodie, along with Sheriff Ben Crawford and several deputies, gathered near the creek to reassess their strategy, faces weary yet resolute. Sheriff Ben Crawford stood at the heart of the small crowd, his strong, reassuring voice outlining the plan. Despite the exhaustion shadowing his features, his composure never wavered, providing a steadfast anchor for everyone involved. Olivia Dawson stood nearby, attentive and supportive, her usual practicality now mixed with deeper concern as she glanced frequently at Ben. Shane held Bodie's leash, feeling the comforting presence of the German shepherd beside him. Riley, wrapped in a thick, navy blue jacket, stayed close to Shane, her trust in him growing stronger with every passing moment. Shane found himself increasingly protective of Riley, a sentiment both surprising and welcome, subtly beginning to fill the emotional void he had long carried. "We'll split into smaller teams," Ben instructed firmly. "Shane, you and Bodie will take the northwest quadrant near Miller's Pond." Shane nodded determinedly. Riley, observing the unfolding plan, reached up and touched Shane's arm gently. "I want to help too." Shane hesitated briefly, then met Olivia's eyes seeking approval. Olivia sighed softly, worry clear, but knowing Riley's resolve. "Stay close to Shane, Riley. Promise me." "I promise," Riley agreed earnestly. As teams dispersed, Olivia found herself naturally paired with Ben. They moved toward the thickening woods, silence between them filled by the crunch of autumn leaves beneath their boots. Ben cleared his throat, glancing sideways at Olivia. "You're holding up well." Olivia smiled faintly, her gaze steady yet tender. "I manage. It's Riley I worry about most." Ben nodded thoughtfully. "She's strong like her father was." A pause lingered before Olivia spoke softly, her voice catching slightly. "It's strange how tragedy brings people closer." Ben glanced at her, his dark eyes gentle yet cautious. "It does, though I wish circumstances were different." Meanwhile, Shane guided Bodie through dense underbrush near Miller's Pond. Riley maneuvered her wheelchair skillfully despite the rough terrain, her determination evident. Shane admired her courage, feeling a protective pride he had rarely experienced. "Shane," Riley asked quietly, breaking the silence, "what was my dad like when you knew him?" Shane hesitated, surprised by the question. He exhaled slowly, gathering his thoughts. "Your father was brave and kind, always the first to volunteer. He laughed a lot, made hard times easier." Riley listened intently, absorbing every word. "Sometimes I worry I'm forgetting his voice." Shane felt a sharp pang of empathy. "I understand. After I lost him, his voice was all I heard." The conversation was interrupted by Bodie's abrupt halt. His ears perked, nose twitching as he sensed something crucial. Shane quickly signaled Riley to stop. "Bodie's found something," Shane whispered urgently, heart quickening. The dog led them carefully toward a small clearing, his movements precise and deliberate. Shane carefully examined the ground, spotting subtle clues, a torn fabric, faint footprints heading deeper into the woods. "We need to alert Ben," Shane decided, quickly radioing their findings. Within moments, Ben and Olivia arrived, faces tense yet hopeful. Ben immediately knelt, inspecting the evidence closely. "Good job, Bodie," he praised warmly. Their renewed trail led them deeper into the thickening forest, their journey complicated by the increasingly challenging terrain. Shane stayed vigilant, Riley's quiet courage bolstering his own. Hours passed painstakingly slow. They took short breaks, exhaustion apparent but determination unwavering. Olivia and Ben frequently exchanged quiet, supportive glances, their mutual reliance deepening subtly but noticeably. Olivia admired Ben's steady resolve and gentle consideration, feeling her initial respect gradually evolve into genuine affection. Late afternoon brought a sudden change in weather. Rain began to fall softly, quickly intensifying, muddying paths, and chilling the search party. Shane immediately moved closer to Riley, ensuring her safety and warmth. "We should turn back," Olivia suggested anxiously, eyes fixed protectively on Riley. Before Ben could respond, Bodie suddenly became agitated, pulling urgently at his leash. Shane exchanged a tense glance with Ben and nodded firmly. He senses Dylan. Moving swiftly yet carefully, they followed Bodie through dense foliage, the German shepherd unwavering in his determination. The terrain became increasingly treacherous, muddy slopes slippery underfoot. Shane stayed close to Riley, supporting her carefully. Finally, after arduous minutes, they spotted Dylan curled beneath a large, fallen tree trunk, shivering and visibly frightened but unhurt. Relief surged through the group, Ben quickly moving forward to reassure the boy gently. "You're safe now, Dylan," Ben comforted quietly, wrapping his jacket around Dylan's trembling form. The journey back was slow but filled with relief and gratitude. Dylan clung closely to Ben, while Riley and Shane moved in quiet, comforting companionship, Bodie proudly trotting beside them. Olivia felt an overwhelming pride watching Shane's gentle care for Riley, realizing the strength and kindness that had always been within him. Back in Willow Creek, Dylan's reunion with his parents was emotional, tears mingling with joyful embraces. John and Lisa Matthews expressed heartfelt gratitude to each member of the search team, their appreciation particularly strong toward Shane and Bodie. That evening, Olivia stood near Ben, warmth radiating quietly between them, their bond solidifying after shared trials. Ben spoke softly, eyes sincere. "We did good work today, thanks to you." Olivia smiled warmly, her gaze affectionate yet thoughtful. "Thanks to everyone." Nearby, Shane sat with Riley and Bodie, the day's events forging a profound bond between them. Riley leaned comfortably against Shane, trust evident in her relaxed posture. Shane felt an unfamiliar yet welcome sense of belonging, realizing Riley had subtly guided him back from the brink of isolation. Watching from a quiet distance was Clara Evans, the reserved librarian with an enigmatic past. Her observant gray eyes softened as she regarded the quiet scene before her, a rare smile gently curving her lips. Clara knew secrets had a way of surfacing, sensing Shane's pain mirrored her own long-held grief. Perhaps now was time to share her own hidden story to finally heal. As darkness settled gently upon Willow Creek, the town collectively exhaled, relief palpable after their successful search. Bonds forged and strengthened during difficult hours have begun quietly reshaping lives, laying a foundation of healing and connection amidst adversity. The search party pressed forward under the fading daylight, tension thickening the cool air as Shane Butler closely observed Bodie's every move. The German shepherd, sharp and tireless, suddenly stiffened, his ears erect and his muscles tense with anticipation. Shane immediately recognized this posture from his past experience. Bodie had found Dylan's trail again. "He has something," Shane called urgently to Sheriff Ben Crawford and Olivia Dawson, who trailed closely behind. Riley, her youthful face marked with determination, maneuvered her wheelchair carefully over the uneven terrain, eyes filled with both worry and hope. Bodie surged forward decisively, leading them towards an abandoned, decrepit house hidden behind overgrown bushes and towering trees. The structure stood foreboding, its wood rotting, paint peeling, windows shattered, an eerie reminder of forgotten days. Shane instinctively stepped ahead protectively, motioning everyone to stay back as he approached cautiously with Bodie. His heart raced as old training kicked in, each step deliberate and silent. He sensed Riley's anxious eyes on him and drew strength from her trust. Inside, a muffled, frightened voice reached his ears. Shane signaled Bodie forward. The dog moved swiftly, pushing open the ajar door with his nose. Inside, the dimly lit space was filled with dust and debris, but Shane's gaze immediately found Dylan Matthews huddled in a corner, eyes wide and fearful. "Dylan," Shane said gently, crouching slowly, hands visible. "We're here to take you home." Dylan whimpered softly, relief overcoming his initial fear. Just as Shane reached to comfort him, the weak wooden ceiling groaned ominously. Bodie barked sharply, pushing Shane aside protectively as a heavy beam crashed down, narrowly missing them. However, a jagged piece splintered off, cutting deeply into Bodie's flank. Shane's heart clenched painfully. Ignoring danger, he quickly wrapped Dylan safely in his arms, eyes fixed worriedly on Bodie, who staggered slightly yet remained loyally at his side. Outside, Olivia and Ben waited anxiously, Riley gripping Olivia's hand tightly. The sight of Shane carrying Dylan, Bodie limping bravely beside him, made Olivia gasp softly, relief mingled with dread. "Bodie!" Riley cried, noticing immediately the blood matting his fur. Shane gently laid Dylan into Ben's waiting arms, turning swiftly back to Bodie. "We need a vet," Shane said urgently, voice tight with controlled panic. "I'll call Dr. Emily Harper," Ben responded immediately, already dialing. Minutes felt like eternity until Emily Harper, the town veterinarian, arrived. Emily was a calm, competent woman in her early 40s, tall and slender with straight brown hair tied neatly back. Her sharp green eyes exuded a gentle assurance as she quickly assessed Bodie's injury. "He'll be okay," Emily reassured the worried group firmly, "but he needs immediate care." At the veterinary clinic, Shane paced anxiously outside the operating room, his mind flooded with traumatic memories, the battlefield, frantic shouts, Cooper's urgent voice, and the chilling silence afterward. The scarred emotions he'd suppressed surged forcefully to the surface, confronting him mercilessly. "He'll make it." Emily's reassuring voice broke Shane's painful reverie. She approached gently, her empathetic eyes understanding. "Bodie's strong. He just needs rest." Shane nodded, eyes shadowed by guilt. Riley watched quietly from nearby, sensing Shane's internal struggle. Moving close, she took his hand reassuringly. "It's not your fault," Riley whispered softly. Shane felt a powerful ache in his chest, deeply moved by her quiet strength. Later that evening, after Bodie stabilized, Shane sat alone near Riley in Olivia's cozy living room. Olivia thoughtfully gave them space, sensing the importance of the impending conversation. Shane inhaled deeply, summoning courage. "Riley, there's something important you deserve to know about your dad and me." Riley leaned forward attentively, her eyes gentle yet serious. "Tell me." Shane cleared his throat, emotion thickening his voice. "Your dad, Cooper, was more than a friend. He was my brother in everything but blood. We trained together, fought together, survived together." Riley listened silently, absorbing every heartfelt word. When the bomb detonated, Shane continued, voice strained, "Cooper saved me. He saw danger I didn't. He pushed me clear, and because of that, I lived, and he didn't. I've carried that weight ever since." Tears quietly pooled in Riley's eyes. She reached out and grasped Shane's hand tightly. "Dad wouldn't blame you. He saved you because he cared." Shane swallowed hard, profoundly touched by her understanding and grace. "Meeting you, seeing Bodie again, reminded me of what Cooper always believed. Healing comes from connection, not isolation." Riley smiled gently, her expression mature beyond her years. "He will be proud of you now." A peaceful silence filled the room, the weight of Shane's guilt slowly easing under Riley's compassionate gaze. Outside the room, Olivia listened quietly, heart swelling with relief and affection. She stepped away softly, nearly colliding with Ben Crawford, who stood respectfully nearby. "Everything all right?" Ben asked quietly, noticing the emotion in Olivia's eyes. She nodded, smiling faintly. "Better than all right. They're both healing." Ben returned her smile warmly. "We all are." Their gazes lingered meaningfully, a shared understanding passing silently between them, solidifying their growing closeness forged through recent events. Meanwhile, alone in her tidy home, Clara Evans, the librarian with carefully guarded secrets, reviewed an old photograph album, her gaze thoughtful yet sorrowful. Pictures revealed a younger Clara, smiling warmly alongside a familiar face, Cooper Dawson. Their relationship had been a secret, fleeting yet deeply impactful. Clara's quiet grief had shaped her reserved personality, but seeing Shane's courage to confront his past stirred something within her. Perhaps it was time her secret came to light, to free herself from the past's hidden chains. Back at Olivia's home, Riley drifted to sleep beside Shane, her hand still gently holding his. Shane watched her peaceful face, a quiet vow solidifying within him. Cooper had given him a second chance, a purpose. Now it was Shane's turn to protect Riley, to honor his best friend's sacrifice. In the early hours of the morning, Shane checked quietly on Bodie, finding him comfortably sleeping, breathing steadily. Relief flooded Shane, mixed with gratitude for the dog's unwavering bravery. Stepping outside briefly, Shane felt the first warm rays of dawn illuminating the horizon, signaling a new beginning. The past would always remain part of him, but now he chose to embrace healing and connection rather than isolation and regret. Inside, Olivia prepared coffee quietly, welcoming the comforting routine. Ben soon joined her, their interaction comfortable, unspoken affection subtly apparent. Together, they watched the sunrise, a symbolic reflection of hope and renewal for them all. Willow Creek awakened beneath a clear, blue sky, the morning air crisp and vibrant, touched gently by the warmth of a late autumn sun. The small town buzzed with anticipation, banners and decorations strung proudly across Main Street, signaling a special celebration dedicated to Bodie's bravery and recovery. Bodie, now fully healed and proudly adorned his service vest freshly embroidered with honors, sat calmly beside Riley Dawson. Riley's face shone with pride and affection as she lightly stroked the dog's glossy fur, gratitude and admiration evident in her bright eyes. Nearby, Shane Butler stood quietly, his usual stoicism softened significantly. Months of emotional recovery had visibly altered him. His dark hair neatly groomed, face relaxed with newfound tranquility, eyes clear of the shadows that once haunted them relentlessly. Shane's transformation was evident, drawing appreciative and respectful glances from townspeople who had grown to respect and admire him. Olivia Dawson approached, radiant in the gentle sunlight, her dark hair styled softly around her serene face, a warm smile illuminating her thoughtful eyes. Her usual calm practicality now complemented by noticeable warmth, especially when she glanced toward Sheriff Ben Crawford, standing near the makeshift podium. Ben's uniform was impeccably crisp, his typically stern features now softened with open pride and affection, particularly when his eyes met Olivia's. Ben, authoritative yet approachable, had finally allowed the personal warmth he felt for Olivia to surface publicly, transforming their subtle companionship into a relationship recognized and warmly approved by the entire community. The crowd quieted respectfully as Ben stepped forward, addressing the gathered townspeople warmly. Today we honor courage and loyalty exemplified by Bodie, whose bravery saved young Dylan Matthews and reminded us of the strength within our community. Cheers erupted enthusiastically, a wave of genuine appreciation and heartfelt applause echoing warmly throughout Willow Creek. Dylan, safely by his parents' side, waved happily, his youthful face glowing with appreciation toward Bodie. Ben motioned Shane forward, his voice sincere and appreciative. Shane Butler, without whose bravery and dedication Dylan's safe return might not have been possible, deserves our deepest gratitude. Shane stepped up hesitantly, humility evident in his demeanor, visibly moved by the acknowledgement. His voice was steady yet emotional. "Thank you, Willow Creek. The true heroes are Bodie and Riley, whose unwavering faith and courage inspired us all." Riley blushed lightly, modestly accepting the applause as Shane gently placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. In that quiet gesture, their bond was unmistakable, one forged from mutual healing and trust. As the formal ceremony concluded, festive laughter and conversations filled the street. Olivia stood near Ben, their conversation quiet yet intimate, unnoticed by most except Clara Evans, who watched with gentle approval. Clara, the reserved town librarian, approached Shane quietly after the ceremony dispersed. Her composed features softened significantly, revealing the warmth beneath her usual reserved exterior. "Shane," Clara began gently, "there's something important I need to share with you." Shane looked at her curiously, noting the sincerity in her gray eyes. "Of course. Cooper Dawson and I once shared a close friendship," Clara revealed softly, her voice calm but tinged with vulnerability. "Before he deployed, we promised we'd always look out for one another. His loss deeply affected me." Shane listened attentively, deeply moved by Clara's openness. "I never knew." Clara smiled faintly, her expression gentle. "I isolated myself afterward, but seeing your courage to face the past inspired me. Thank you for that." Shane nodded solemnly, recognizing Clara's quiet strength and hidden pain. "Healing starts when we share our burdens." Clara smiled warmly, visibly relieved. "Indeed it does." Nearby, Riley and Dylan happily played with Bodie, their youthful laughter brightening the atmosphere. Olivia and Ben observed fondly, their hands subtly intertwined, clearly reflecting the blossoming love between them. As evening approached, Shane, Riley, and Bodie strolled leisurely toward Willow Creek's serene lakeside. The setting sun painted the horizon with vibrant hues of gold and crimson, reflecting beautifully across the tranquil water. Riley maneuvered her wheelchair skillfully, eyes peaceful as she glanced warmly at Shane. "Thank you for being here. Dad would have liked this." Shane smiled softly, his expression deeply reflective. "Your dad taught me many lessons, Riley, but you taught me the most important one, how to heal." They paused by the lake's edge, watching Bodie splash joyfully in the shallow water, his energy fully restored. Riley laughed softly, the sound pure and uplifting, easing any remaining tension Shane might have held. In the quiet serenity, Shane felt a profound sense of gratitude and belonging, finally at peace. Riley had unknowingly guided him from darkness back to life, offering acceptance and love he never anticipated finding again. "Family isn't always blood," Riley said softly, her young voice wise beyond her years. "It's who stands by you, no matter what." Shane nodded sincerely, deeply touched. "I promise to always stand by you, Riley." Riley's smile brightened, trust and affection radiating openly. "I know." In town, Olivia and Ben enjoyed dinner together at the cozy Willow Café. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, filled with laughter and warmth, solidifying their deepening relationship. Olivia reached gently across the table, covering Ben's hand softly with hers. "I'm glad we found each other," Olivia admitted softly, eyes shining with sincerity. Ben squeezed her hand affectionately, his usually stern features softening tenderly. "Me too. Together, we can handle anything." Later that night, Shane returned home, feeling a deep sense of contentment he had not known for years. He paused outside, gazing thoughtfully at the stars illuminating the clear night sky, quietly whispering his gratitude to Cooper, whose memory now provided strength rather than pain. Inside her own home, Clara Evans quietly closed her treasured photo album, finally at peace with her hidden past. A soft smile played across her lips as she silently thanked Shane for helping her reclaim hope. The hearts within Willow Creek had endured trials and tragedy, yet each had emerged stronger and wiser. The bonds formed from shared hardship and compassion had brought healing and renewal. Beside Willow Creek's tranquil lake, Shane, Riley, and Bodie continued their leisurely stroll, walking peacefully toward the warm glow of home, carrying hope and joy within their hearts. Their healing journey symbolized resilience and a profound power of love and connection, offering promise of brighter days ahead for everyone touched by their story. In our daily lives, we often carry burdens too heavy for our hearts, scars that no one else can see. But through the inspiring journey of Shane, Riley, and Bodie, we've learned that healing comes from facing our past with courage, embracing support from those around us, and opening our hearts to love and forgiveness. If this story touched you, please share it with someone who might need encouragement. Leave a comment below saying amen to affirm that no matter what you've endured, you are never alone. Subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories of hope and resilience. May God bless you abundantly and guide you towards peace and healing. Amen.